Good morning. Hello. I remember to turn on the microphone today. Happy Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving, if any of you are celebrating that. Hello, Zilby. Oh, you found the trash? Look at the trash. You could hang out up here. So hopefully you're all having a great day. We are. It's probably going to be a normal stream. For me, I'm not working today, but I do have a bunch of things to do later today, so I don't want to work forever. Yes, yes, amazing that I remember that. All right, so what's happening today? Today we're finishing up the auth section, which really means moving that guard into a middleware. And then we get to do not we're not finishing up auth section. We're finishing up basic auth section by using using a middleware. So moving that over, and then we can move into hashing the password and using a jot. Okay. So using a middleware. This is gonna take me a little. Dude, we already used did middleware stuff, didn't we? Where was that? That was backend Rust Axum lessons, routing source. Oh, so yeah, we have this middleware message set middleware custom header. Is this how that is? Extension share data. Or was this? This was layers. We have the core. Okay, we do cores, layer, extension, share data. So we just oh right, okay. So we do extension and then pass in shared data. Shared data is that function. Do I have to do like the function from or the thing? Oh right, no, this is just adding this in here. Did we never create? Oh, here it is. Set middleware custom header. It's up here. So we do the route layer middleware from function. Set middleware custom header. So that's this one. We take in. Oh right, we have to do this entire thing with the generics. Right. So we have our generics come in, request B, next B result. It's async, so this is gonna be fine. Wonder if I'm gonna want to open this up in another window on the side so I can reference it. Possibly. Okay. So can I? No, I can't. It's not quite that easy. Let me. So let's see. This was in the routing. So you are in backend Rust Axum routing. No. Oh, lessons routing. Gonna put you over there. Set custom middleware. There we go for that. I can make you that big for me. Okay, back over here. I don't really care to have this on anymore. The most recent thing that we guarded. What was the most recent thing that we guarded? Oh, it was get all task, wasn't it? Yeah, get all tasks. The first thing we do. No, it wasn't. We didn't guard that. For some reason, I thought we put a guard in that one. I guess not. Oh, yeah, we're in data. Let's see, delete user. I guess it would be under users. Log out. We have a guard and log out. Okay. We can use this one as our reference. So, hey, we have this guard. We take in the token. If we don't have the token, that's already a big problem. We then get the user. If we don't get the user, that's also a problem. But then once we have the user, we create a token, we set it. Oh, no. This one is just setting it to none. So it's up here as the guard. So we just get the token, we verify that the token is correct, and then we get the user. And so I want to add a user as an extension. So I think what we want to do is we want to do a practice run really quickly. So let me commit what I had been previously working on, which is that. And so we're going to want, I guess like this will be middleware for this. We're going to have pub async function. What are you going to be? You're going to be the front function docs have an auth header example. I think we looked at that before, didn't we? I think we want, like authenticated maybe. Oh, needs authentication. Okay, so if I do this, I think you're still up. You're going to be upset at me if I attempt to use you as middleware here, right? So if I, let's say, go down here, um, it's layer from function. Okay. Expected future output to be a function item that returns an option. Okay, so good. So we can use this to show like, hey, we kind of need to do that. We need to return the option now. So I can't. I'm returning a result in this other one, which is interesting. So can I still return a result? Startup builder, hello. Biggest mistake you did was building a web agency. It's not scalable. That might not be the correct kind of fun function. From a function, you might be right. Let me also open up this one. both of you opened up. What is this? This is, oh, it's a route layer too. It's a route layer. There's a bunch of things I'm doing wrong here. So I want a route layer. This is also middleware. Oh, I really shouldn't call this middleware because the other thing is called middleware. So I need to rename you to maybe this is like auth middleware. Okay, so if we do auth middleware here, auth middleware there, save you to. So we want error. Oh, right. The error will be a status code. That. Okay, so back to here. So I want there we go. Middleware from function auth middleware. Oh, right, it was this needs authentication. Okay, function expect to take 2 arguments, but it takes 0 arguments. Okay, so yeah, we're back to this. This takes in 2 things. Steven, hello. It's a little bit early for the Merry Christmases, but Merry Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving. My parents have a rule in the house. No winter holiday music until after Thanksgiving dinner. So tonight is when they'll probably start playing music and doing all that stuff. But like no purchasing things, no decorations, no nothing. One holiday at a time. The stores get earlier and earlier every year, it feels like. Okay, so right. So I need to take in request and next, and that this is where the generics come in. So we have this needs authentication, and you're this B type, or I could rename you as T this time just to show that, hey, it doesn't matter. And then here are the types. We have a mute request, which is a request of T. We have a next, which is a next of T. And a result. Oh, a result. This is a response. Right, this has to be a response. And status code. Okay. Right, and I don't need to lock this down. It figures that out pretty easily. So at this point, it's pretty normal. Also with the to do, we're gonna be an okay. Next, we run, pass it in the request, and await it. So that makes you happy. To get the user, we get it from the headers. So let our token equals. So we're gonna do request dot. Can I do typed headers? I think I do just headers. I don't want them to be mutable, right? Typed try get. Tries to find the header by name. Interesting. Okay, there's a type try get. But yes. Am I building a code school? Not exactly. I am going to be building an LMS, a learning management system, that I can use to sell courses. And the courses are going to be a little bit more interactive than we have here, and probably going to, at least at the beginning, limit the number of people who can take the courses at the same time. But so, like, in that way, yes, but also not really a school. I'm not going for a school. More of just continued education and like continued growth. I could do a typed get. I could do a try get. Oh, it looks like this is gonna be an option anyways. So typed get, you take in an H. So I want this to be authorization. Oh, bear. Okay, so then I want to, I think it was okay or else. That way it turns it into a result. If I do okay or, um, this becomes just like an error. No, I think I just do status code. Like 400. But yeah, I have status code. Oh, it was bad request. Then I can question mark you semicolon. Yes. Okay. That gives me the authorization bearer. I think we can do a like dot. Yeah. Then get the dot token. So that gives me just the stir. Okay. So we get that. Then, all right. So we now have a token. We want to get the user. So that user equals. So we need users. So users, we want to just do a find because we don't have the ID. We're going to filter. Why are you so upset? Okay, filter. Error expected semicolon. I mean, okay, fine. Expected semicolon found closed curly bracket. Wait, what? Okay. That user equals. Okay, so we have users. I named it. Yeah, users. Find. Huh, it doesn't have the filter. Why don't you have a filter? Oh, that's why. When I hit find, I need to hit return to make sure that Rust Analyzer pulls in the correct something. Entity trait, it looks like. So now I can do filter. There we go. That's what the problem was. So we have users, column token, please. Equals, yeah, so I need to remember to hit enter on or return on all of those to like pull in and have Rust Analyzer do its thing. Okay, so then users would be users. This is gonna be the token itself, so it's gonna be a sum token. We probably have to to-owned this. Let's see. Then we get one thing. Yeah, I want to get. Oh, that's an if filter. That's over here. So dot one. Oh, we need the database. Right, to get the database out. Equals, we do request dot extensions. I think we do get, right? Get takes in a type, I want to say. Yeah, it does. So this is a database connection. We know that this should definitely have it, but we can always do our okay or status code internal server error. Do that. Okay, so now we have our database connection. We also know that this is a reference, so I think I can just do that, right? You're happed. You're happy. Okay, so what are you upset about? Temporary value dropped. So actually, I probably need to token dot to owned here. Make that as a string, then I'll give ownership of it at this point, so it's not doing funny stuff. Oh, right, I need to take it out of the request at this point, so I'm not holding on to the request multiple times by accident. Okay, so we get the database from the request. Then we get the user. Okay, so it's from the token. We do one. We hand it the database. We await. We map the error. We return a status code of, in this case, am I muted? I shouldn't be muted. I wasn't muted a couple minutes ago. Also, hello, Lob Sang. I was able to chat with Isitsu. Can anybody else hear me? Let me check my preview. Lord Mist, hello. It has been a while. How are you doing? Yes, I can hear just fine. So, I would guess that there's something on your end, Lobsang. So sorry about that. Lord, how are you doing? What have you been up to? I see you every once in a while on some of the other discords. Uh, so I know you've uh let's see. I think we chatted with each other a couple times on there, or at least we were talking about Rust stuff there. Doing great. You've been pretty busy with school and stuff. Well, school and stuff is good, right? Moving forward with life is always a nice thing. Okay, so this is an internal server error, so we do that. Okay, so are you really expecting that, or are you just not saved? You're just not saved. Okay, so then we get our user. That's an okay. Let's do this pattern now. So we'll shadow user equals if let some user, or I could return at this point. I could just do that. So we could just do an if let some user equals user. Okay, we're turning out a view. So basically we're going to have view inside of here. If we don't have a user, we're going to return an error of a status code unauthorized. It's also been a while since you've been active in any of the Rest Discords. You're not mainly a Rust programmer anymore. You're mostly doing Zig these days. Oh, you mentioned you've told me about Zig a few times, and I keep on meaning to check it out, but then I just keep on getting busy with this stuff. So it's on my list. One day I'll look at it. But I remember you the way you've talked about it in the past. It sounds really cool. Okay, so we have our user. Now I want to take this user and I want to add it to the response. So we're going to do and that's why we have a mutable request. So we're going to do request dot extensions mute. I want to, what do I do? Extend get insert. The value I want to insert is the user. That's fine. Okay. Now that gives me back an option with the model in it, but I don't really care about that. So I just want to do this. We're inserting in the user. If I then run this auth middleware, it needs to be before the logout essentially, but like the way it works is we're gonna have to put it all the way up here. And then let's move logout right above it. We'll then go back into logout. Logout was in users, logout. We're gonna take in extension user, extension. So this is users model. So I think I want to rename this one too, just to make it really, really obvious. Or you know what I could do? I could do users model like that. How have you been doing Axum for this long? I usually have a look at your stream titles, and there's been a ton of Axum recently. So you must be doing. They've my tutorials have been getting longer and longer. I've noticed just over time. But with this one, I first did Axum by recreating the backend for the to-do app, just sort of like to make sure I learn it, make sure I've got like all the parts that I need to do, created the course, and then sort of like moving through and doing these tutorials. Guess I can make the code a little bit cleaner by doing let some user equals else return. Let some user equals else return error. Oh, right. You don't need the if anymore. Or maybe you never needed the if. I can't remember. I saw a museum talking about that previously, and I've never done this. So where was this? This was in auth middleware. Yeah, so instead of this if let, I could just do that, I believe. No, that's very unhappy. You don't need a block anymore either. Oh man, so many changes that I've not kept up on. Okay, so I can make the code by doing let some user. So let some user equals other stuff. Oh, I don't need the block. let some user equals user. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. Let me undo this and try comment you out. Okay, so you're going to be upset. I'm going to put in a to do. No, a to do. Okay, I think the way it works is let some user equals user like that. So can I just semicolon you? Irrefutable pattern and local binding, none not covered. Okay, so that else, I want to do a return early where we do an error, status code, unauthorized. You need to be a block here. There we go. This has now extracted the user out into its own thing. And now I can take this request and do this right there. Like that, yeah. I like it. This is nice. So I can now extract out the user into just a variable at this point. We have our return block in case it doesn't exist here. But then we're at the same level, so I don't have to do the entire block thing. Yeah, it is a pretty neat little feature. Thank you for that, Lord. Okay, so in U, we have extensions user. So we bring in the user here, which was added in our auth middleware. So I don't need to check the token anymore. And we don't need this at all. So basically, actually, now that I think about it, oh, wait, no, I do this. So I get the user. Now I have to turn this into an active model. So let user, so we can shadow the user. So let user dot into active model. We'll make you mutable. Then we can set the token to be none, and then we save the user, and we're done. Which means we don't need the typed header anymore. We just need the database and this user. And it makes this logout so much simpler. I like it. You should read up on GATs. You've heard people are pretty excited about those. I think that GATs are going to make libraries so much better. I don't know if they're really going to help on sort of higher level application code. I could be wrong on that. I need to look a little bit more into them, but like the ability to have and for anybody who hasn't heard, let's go take a look at it really quickly because it is a really cool feature. So it's GATS is let's see, GATS Rustlang. Actually, let's just go to Rustlang. Rustlang dot is it org? Yeah. Come on, take me. Thank you. I tried to go directly there. It didn't load. Okay, so in their version 1.6, generic associated types. So GATS is so much funner to say than generic associated types, of course. So basically, lifetimes, types, and const generics can now be defined on associated types. So we can now say things like this. And even the Rust team is having trouble like explaining how powerful they are and like what they can do. But this is the reason why I think it's going to be like this is a game changer for libraries behind the scenes because libraries is where I found the most use for generics, or at least like creating traits with generics in them. I think they'll be useful for your generic OAuth client library when you get back to it eventually. At the moment, you have to rely on HRTBs, which has caused a few problems. I think this is one of those few times in the language where you're like, oh, really? Now I have to rewrite my entire thing? I mean, you don't have to, but like it's so much better. Why wouldn't you? It's like everything's changed. It's like, you could do so much better stuff, easier. Um it's sort of like when they introduced the lifetime Elysian, and then it's like I don't need to have lifetimes everywhere. I just want to rewrite everything and not have lifetimes. Okay, so I do want to test this to make sure that my assumptions are correct. So I want to do a login. So we'll do data. We'll do a login. See, here's that. And then if I do a log out, hey, everything is good. If I try it again, unauthorized. So it's looking good. It's looking good. Okay, so that was all me practicing for what I need to do. Is there anything in here that I need to be aware of? This one is pretty easy. I don't need to like sort of know or think about anything else in here. The route layer is the most important. So I've got a mod set up here to look at that. Okay. And then in here, we've got those setups. Let me open this up in two different files. So seeing the route layer is like the one that I care the most about. And then here we have that. Okay. I feel confident. I don't know if that's a good thing, but we're discarding all that stuff and we are going to start the actual recording of the lesson now. Okay, so using middleware. I think we're going to start in the logout route. So where's users? Hi, I had a bunch of warnings in here. No, it had no warnings, but it was getting confused because I changed all the code on it without saving the file. Okay, so let's now do this. Okay, so I've got record down there. All right, I'm gonna switch over into recording mode. If you haven't seen this before, I kind of sort of check chat, but I don't usually directly reply to it. I'm sort of pretending that these are just solo recordings I'm doing on my own without streaming. So if you do chat something like something I'm missing or something you have a question on, I will see if I can work it into the lesson. Otherwise, I'll respond after I'm done with that. So with that, let's go ahead and begin. We're gonna now do a lesson on everything we just did. Now that we've guarded a route and we're able to protect it from unauthenticated users, basically a user who hasn't logged in or created an account or any of those things, I sort of see a problem that we're going to run into. We have this entire code that isn't really related to the business logic of what this route handler is. In fact, if we take a look at this, over half the lines are dedicated to just checking to see if the user is logged in, and we don't even care about it. Like we do need to get the user to then set on it, But besides that, that's not really something we need. And we're going to need to replicate this many times. So, for example, in get one task, get all tasks, and delete a task, create a task, all of those we're going to need to guard it and to add some kind of authentication guard. Let's go ahead and write this into a custom middleware so that we only have to define this once and then we can use that. Okay, so let's create a new file. And we're going to name this, it's not a good idea to name it just like pure middleware. So I want to name this something like maybe guard .rs. We're going to mod this here. So it's just very similar to the other asynchronous functions. So pub async function. We'll do guard. If we come back to here, we'll use guard. And then if we remember back from middleware, we whatever we put, like this layer is now available all the way up above it. But now, like that's okay for having like the database be available to everything. It's not okay for guarding things because, for example, this hello world, we want to make sure that anybody can use it. So I'm actually going to define this up here. So we're going to do our route layer, middleware from function guard. Now you're upset because this function is expected to take two different arguments. So guard actually needs to take in a generic type. And inside of here, we're going to have the request. So we want our request, which is going to be a request type T. And then we have next, which is going to be a next type T. And we absolutely have to return a result. The success for this is going to be a response. And the error can be whatever error type we want. So in this case, we can make it the status code. Let's go ahead and to do this. Okay, so you're happy here, and you're back to being happy over here. Excellent. So guarding it, it's going to be very, very similar to what we're doing inside of the logout route. We want to first grab the token from the headers, and just like in the router section, we don't have access to just extensions up here in the function signature. I'm gonna have to grab those out separately. So let's do token equals. Okay, so we have our request. We want the extensions. I don't need it to be mutable. I want to get an extension that gives me a, what's that? I want extensions, or is it? Oh, it's headers. I want headers, not extensions. Extensions were going to be for the database side. Headers, I want to get. We have this type tyget. It's not what I want. I want typed get. There we go. For the typed get, I want this to be the authorization. And then here we're doing bearer. Okay, so that gives me an option. Okay, so if this doesn't exist, I want it to throw an error. So I'm going to do an okay or, and if it's a none, it's going to do the or part of this. And in that case, it's going to be a status code of this is a 404, so bad request. And we can now, no D there. We can semicolon that. Okay, that gives us an authorization bearer. I want the token out of it, and I want to, let's to own this to give it to us. We need to do this so that we stop using request, just in case we need request later. It's going to be sort of like partially being used, and it gets, the borrow checker is a little bit unhappy with that. Okay, so we have our token and our string. So we need to verify that this token is exactly what we expect it to be, which means we now need to get the database out, which is the extensions. So database equals, okay, so we have request, extensions. Again, it's just this. We want to do a get. For the get here, it does take this T type. So you are going to be the database connection. And I'm going to do an okay or. In this case, it's going to be a status code internal server error. And I can question mark semicolon that too. All right, so we have our token, we have a database. We need to pull in the model. So let's do use create database users entity as users. We can now do a query. So let our user equals users. We want to just do a find. We want to filter. This is going to be users column token. We want to make sure it's set equal to the token in here. That's going to be a sum token. Giving ownership to that is fine. We can just get one. Pass it that. I can just pass it the full database because we already have it as a reference here. We'll await. We'll map this error. I don't care about that one. It's just going to be an internal server error. So we're going to return a status code internal server error question mark semicolon. Okay. Now if this fails. So if this is a none, actually, it means that we found a user. Well, at least we didn't find the token in the database. That's what it is. We didn't find the token in the database. If we don't find the token in the database, it's because they're logged out. It's a bad token. So it's an unauthorized thing. Now, there's a cool new feature in Rust if you're using the latest as, let's see, I'm on 1.6.5, where we can use a let binding. So we don't have to do an if let thing and return. We can just go straight to this. We're going to do let sum user equals user. That's great. That gives me a model. But if I do a semicolon here, it should yell at me now saying like, well, what happens if it's a none? Well, we're going to do an else. Have a block here, and I'm going to return an error with the status code of unauthorized. And so at this point, I have access to user at this sort of root level of the function, which is really nice. Okay, so I have user. I want to now add this user into an extension for all routes above me to have access to. So we are going to need to set this request as a mutable request. So we can now mutate it. We're going to do a request dot extensions mute. I want to now insert as some kind of value. So like whatever I feel like, which in this case can be a user. And that's it. Semicolon there. You seem to be fine here. We don't want to do. We need to return this request by calling next. So we're going to return OK. we're going to call next dot run. We have to pass in the request and await it. And that's it. That's our middleware. So now everything above this middleware absolutely must have authentication to work. Otherwise, it will yell at you. So let's go ahead and move our logout above here. And we're going to refactor logout to now use this middleware instead of just doing the guard itself. Okay, so 2 users. So what do we need to do? Well, we don't want to do any of this anymore, do we? We don't need it. We do need the user at this point. So we want to get extension. We want user. That's going to be extension. It's going to be a model from users. Okay. All right, mismatch types. It wants to set the token to none. Okay, so that's fine. Oh, but we can't do this because we need an active model. So we'll just shadow user here. So user, and this needs to be mutable too. User dot into active model. That makes it happy. We don't need this authorization typed header. We don't need that anymore because that's happening in the middleware. This is all we need. So at this point, our backend is just really focused on the only thing it needs to do. It needs access to the user. It needs to make sure that the user is authenticated. And then it needs to just do something to the user. That's it. Simple. So we then can go back to our Thunderclant in our collections. Let's make sure we log in. And then we'll do a log out. And it's still working. Everything is still working as expected. And we have successfully refactored our routes to use this use this, which is really nice. Now, if you want to sort of like change everything else, all you have to do is move it above this middleware, and it will now require that token to be passed in the header, and it will get the user for you, so that user will be available in the extension. Anyways, hopefully this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. All right. Lord Miz, probably missed you, but have a good rest of your day. Okay, so happy about this. We've got. Oh right, we had so many imports we don't need anymore. So don't need you anymore. Typed header we don't need. Just those 3. So let's commit you. This was guarding in middleware, which I forgot to readme update this. Okay, I want to go down to my recordings. This is guarding in middleware. There we go. Okay, so we have that. That's basic how authentication works. So the next is going to be make it secure. So we have to make the authentication secure because we are storing that password in plain text, And so next is going to be, okay, we need to hash the password. We're going to use bcrypt. What did we use before? I think project solution, cargo taml. We just used the bcrypt crate. We just did this. And I want to say that's pretty fairly simple. I think we can do a quick test in here. If I add in bcrypt, yeah, no features needed. Interesting that it does have JS. I vaguely remember feeling like, oh, we can use this in front end stuff too if we want to. Or maybe WebAssembly? Okay, so then I want in users, when we create the user, we want to hash this. So let's actually create a helper function here for like hash password. Okay, so we're gonna take in the password, which is a string. I think we can take ownership of it here because we have it as a string and I don't want it available anywhere else. Like, I don't want anybody to read it anymore. I want, like, you give it to me and I give you this back and it's gone forever. Okay. And if possible, I would like to return a string, but let's sort of see what we got here. So if I use bcrypt, I want to hash, generates a password hash using the cost given. The salt is generated randomly using the OS randomness. Okay, so this is really simple, which is really nice. I could do a result generates a password hash using the cost given. The salt is generated randomly using the OS randomness. The function returns a result structure and allows to format the hash in different versions. I don't think I really care about that. Hash with salt. Ooh, yeah, the salt is generated randomly. So the salt is generated randomly. So I don't care about that. I don't need to give it a manual salt. The way that bcrypt works is the salt is actually included inside of the hash itself. So having that be random every single time is perfectly fine. What really matters is this cost, where, okay, so we have the password, that's a string. The cost needs to be something. I think, like, is it 12 or is it 16 now as the recommended? I never remember anymore. But it goes up exponentially, I think, with how much time it takes to hash it, or to yeah, how much time it takes to hash it, but also how much time it takes. Well, verifying is really just hashing it again. So yeah, how much time it takes to hash it. U32 max, try that. No, I'm not going to try that. I'm really curious. Do they have a maximum? Yeah, look at this. Min cost through max cost contains cost. Otherwise, cost not allowed. So let's take a look at their max cost here. 31 is the max cost that we can use. 31. So I cannot use U32 max. Sorry about that. But like that being said, even on this computer, which this is not bad. This can do a lot of calculations really fast. It's I think like a 16 should have a noticeable time, and you want it to be not noticeable but like just at the edge. And it probably depends a little bit upon how many people are using your service at the same time. So we might be able to get away with 16. Okay, so we bcrypt hash this. This returns a bcrypt result with a string. So that hash equals. Now I want to. Okay, we can map the error and turn this into another. I guess this would be like a status code. So this becomes a result. We probably just want the string of the hash and a status code. So we're going to turn a status code, internal server error. Oh, which gives us a string right there. So actually, can I just return you? I think I can do that, right? Yeah. Okay. So hash password now happens up here in create user. We'll do a, yeah, so new user, we need to do let hashed password equals hash the password, pass in request user dot password. Shouldn't need okay. Let's try it. It normally would yell at me if I don't need it, but I think I need okay because yeah, it's expecting a result. So if I don't do the question mark either, oh well, there you go. Never mind. Never mind. I'm yeah, it's the map error fixes it. Okay, I'm silly. Okay, so if I get this, I do want to. I can question mark you at this point. Yeah, moved of the password. So now I'm going to set this to be the hashed password. And I set the token to be just, this totally unique token. Like, it's totally random. You need that the error types don't match. Oh, right, because I am matching them there with the map error. Let's see. Then I do that. We save. Now I want to go and verify the content. Well, okay, I guess like what I could do. So we save this all out. That's gonna be fine. Username. Let's just respond with the oh, I don't JSON response user. I don't have a. Let's just debug the new user dot password. Okay, so we should be able to see the hash come in here. This is under create user. Right, it's under wait, what am I doing? Where am I going? I'm going to do this. I want create account. So if I do this, oh, it's that hash. It's the 16 hash. It's this is how long it takes. Which is this is too long for a single user to wait for their password to be hashed. It's very secure though. Oh, 500 internal server error. Um, let's try. Let's try like a 12. Okay, so we're getting a 500 internal server error. Uh, I do want to see what this error is. Let's debug the error. No debug? Hmm. Do I need like an eprint line instead? Eprint line. Or I don't remember if I need debug mode for this. That might be just be like not like errors. You're not even attempting to log something out. So hold on, let's do got error. Yeah, you're not even attempting to do this. This is faster if I do something like, let's go to 8. Yeah, so it's taking a lot less time now. But you're not doing the thing, and you're not. Okay, can I? Oh yeah, I'm not getting this at all. I'm not getting any anything debugged out, which that kind of feels strange. The error comes after calling hash password. It must come after calling hash password. Yeah. Okay, so internal server error. Where else do we call internal server error? Uh, so in create accounts, we also do it here. Oh, when we attempt to save it to the database. So we're setting this to be the hashed password, which is a string, but okay. So there's some error here. Let's debug this error. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Duplicate key value. Oh, user's username. And there's our hash. Okay. That's actually really good to sort of know and be aware of is the duplicate key. I forgot we actually did good database setup for that. Okay. But this is gonna be hashing a password, and then of course we want to verify the hash. Which is gonna happen. So then we're gonna have a verify hash function verify password. This is also gonna take in a password string. Um, Probably return a result okay, but let's see. So if I do bcrypt. We want to verify that a password is equivalent to the hash provided. So we do this. Again, we take an ownership of this password because I really don't want to have it access out anymore. Verify, take that thing, and the hash is, you also take in a hash. So hash is, this could be a strt. And you're going to return a bcrypt result with a bool, so we can do the same thing where this is going to be a result bool, but then instead of bcrypt error, you're going to be an status code. So we map the map error. To status code internal server error at this point, and then we just return you. And then that's going to happen here at login. So we get the database user. We're finding by the username. We some DB user. Okay, so what are we doing with login? I'm doing that entire thing that I don't need to do this anymore. Token equals this thing user. Right, so I'm creating, okay, so if we found the user, then create a new token. So I first want to verify the hash. So if not, verify password, we pass in the password. So that's the request user, that password, and then a hash is a reference to the DB user dot password $u. So if you're not good, so if false, then I want to do an early return of a status code unauthorized. And really this is an error. And if we're good, then we're happy here. So let's see. Where was I doing my comparison before? Did I just completely miss that? Filter by username. Okay. If that's some DB model, we get that. Create a new token. Saved user. Did I just like completely fail to like check the tokens or check the passwords? I think I did. I think I just said like, hey, if you pass me a username, you're good to go. That's bad. That's even bad for plain text passwords. Okay, so if let's DB user, okay, we get that. We now guard with the verify password. So if we fail to that one, we get through here, and then token string. We're gonna deal with that later. And I guess we should be good at this point. So we just created this account, Brooks1, 1, 2, 3, 4. I should now be able to do a login. I want Brooks 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're still good. Okay. I think I have time to do this one too. So let's revert. add you in and revert all of you. And we'll start our adventure off in users under create user here. Also, let's open up you and go to crates and find bcrypt. This is what we will be using. Let's see, on top of that, open up you. Okay. I think we're all good and ready to go. Do you have any recommendations on what to use? Not really. Uh, oh, Argon 2 is also recommended. The general idea should be the same though. So if I just teach this, that'll be fine. Okay. So recommended bcrypt rounds. These are from a long time ago. From last year, Auth0 is not bad. As a security blog, I think Auth0 has some really good articles. Let's see, what do they say? You're setting it to 10. I think we'll just choose 12. 12 or so. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start here. We're gonna do implement. So we're gonna install bcrypt. We're going to implement the hash password and the verify password functions. We're going to add them in here. We're going to create a user. I need to make sure I create a new user with a new username. Otherwise, bad things happen. And then that's it, I think. Okay. I don't think I'm missing anything. Let's do it. So, starting now. Up until now, we've not really had the best practice with storing passwords in our database. We've just been storing them plain text, which is a huge no-no. So hopefully you haven't been doing this in a real app that has real clients and real passwords and all that. We're going to be changing that from now on forward to have a hashed password. Now, if you're unfamiliar with a hash is a one-way kind of sort of encrypted thing. Now, what I mean by that is encryption means bidirectional, meaning that somebody can decrypt it and get the original value out. A hash supposedly only allows you to hash something, to turn it into basically some garbage value that you don't really care about. The hash algorithm can sort of like figure things out. Now, the reason why we want to use something like hash is it forces any kind of hackers, if they get access to your database, to get a list of potential passwords, hash them, and compare the hashes. If they match, they found the password. If they don't, well, they haven't found it yet. And that's usually done through a brute force attack. There's a few things that we can do to sort of prevent to help our users buy time to reset their passwords before the hackers find out what those are. We're going to be using bcrypt for this, mostly because bcrypt is very familiar to a lot of users coming from like the Node.js world. There's several other algorithms. The one I would probably recommend would be Argon 2. Using something like bcrypt, learning that, you can then go and implement Argon 2 very easily. Let's go and find it. So first of all, we just do a search on crates.io and we find bcrypt. It's just under the name bcrypt. Easy enough. So I'm going to go back to my project and install it. So we're going to do a cargo add bcrypt. We don't need any extra features in here. And then we can write a couple functions to actually just do the thing. So first of all, in users, I'm going to write a hash password function. So function hash password. We're going to take in a password, which is going to be a string. I'm okay with taking ownership here because I don't want this password to be available anywhere else in my application. By taking ownership of it and then just destroying it at the end of this, I couldn't use it unless I cloned it when passing in, which will be very obvious. Okay, so we want the hash password, please. We're going to take in the password. We're going to return a result of a string for the hash, and then also a status code in the case that this is failing. Okay, great. All right, so we're going to use bcrypt hash, pass it in the password, which does take a full string, the cost. So how much do we want this to do the cost? If we do something like an 8, it's going to be super fast to hash the password, and our users won't notice any time delay whatsoever. But it also means that if a hacker gets their hands on our database, and they're using a like a rainbow table or a lookup table to like find and check like millions of passwords, they can do millions of passwords per second. So 8 is probably not the right one to choose. But at the same time, if we choose something like 31, it's going to be many days before each password is hashed, and our users don't have time for that. They don't want to like each of them have to wait for 31 several days, probably weeks, before their hash is done. Let's choose something a little bit lower. 16 is still a long time. That's actually quite noticeable. I'm going to choose 14 for this. Okay, so if we do that, now hash returns a bcrypt result, which is not, we want to convert that into this other result. So let's do our map error. We do have this error, and I want to turn this into a status code of internal server error. Okay, so we're happy with hash password. Now we also want to just, while we're here, write a verify password. How do we like know that the password is correct? Well, we're going to rehash it and compare them. But we don't need to like write that ourselves. There is a verify function that bcrypt gives us. So we want function verify. Let's call this verify verify password is good. We're going to take in a password, which is a full string, taking ownership again of it. I want that plain text password in my code as little as possible. Sorry if you hear that. My cat is right next to me, and he's playing with a little toy. And then we want to bring in the hash also, and the hash is going to be a stir. That's fine for us to have. And we're going to return a result this result is going to have a Boolean and then a status code. So it's going to be true or false of whether or not you're allowed in, or just like internal server error that something terrible happened. Okay, so we're going to do bcrypt verify. We've taken the password, which is a string. We've taken that hash, which is a str, and we do need to do the map error. We have error, and we have status code, internal server error. Okay, and we return that. So now that we've done those two things, we should be able to implement passwords here. So, sorry, hashing the password. So in create user, before we set the user here, I just want to, we'll do this right here. Password, instead of request user password, let's just do a hash password and pass in request user password like that. And we do need to question mark you. Okay, so we're happy there. And then in login. So looking through this, I realized that this is even less secure. That and some of you may have noticed this when I first wrote this. We're not actually checking the password. We just check to see if the user is the username was found, and then we're like, yeah, you're logged in. So that's not exactly good security. But now we have the ability to verify the hash. So we have our database user. Let's go ahead and do an if we don't. So if it's a false, so if the password does not match, then I want to do an early return and guard out of here. So if the verify password, password is going to be the DB user. Sorry, not DB user. This is the request user password. And then the hash is going to be a reference to the DB user dot password, because that's the hash. So if you don't get verified, if you're a false, that means the password does not match into the hash. We are going to do an early return error, status code unauthorized. But then if everything is good, go ahead, create our fake token, which we will be fixing very shortly. And the rest should be good. So now at this point, we are checking this. Oh, and I want to question mark you because you could fail. Okay, let's test this. So I'm going to go back into my Thunder client. We're going to, now I shouldn't be able to log in with my old original user name anymore. We get this 500 server error because there's no the hash isn't really a real hash. So instead, let's create a brand new account. I do have to make a new username for this because we do have a unique on the username in the database. This is our lovely password. This is how long 14 is taking, so maybe 12 would be better. It's at the edge of what I would accept for a user. Okay, so now we're gonna go to log in, and I want to log in as Brooks2, and it takes the same amount of time to log in because it rehashes that password, but we're all good. If I had attempted to log in with the wrong username, we would get a 401 unauthorized. And this is how long it would take a hacker each time to verify a password. So it would literally drive them all insane, or they would have to spend a lot of money to parallelize this and check a lot of passwords at the same time. So this is how now we have secure password checkings because we're no longer storing the passwords in plain text in the database. Again, you don't have to use bcrypt. You can use any of the other sort of hashing algorithms. Argon 2 is another great recommendation. So with that, I hope that I hope this was helpful. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Stacking, hello. Okay, so that was, let me do, so that was uh hashing passwords. Okay, so we're all good here. Hashing the password. Everybody into the pool, so hashing passwords. And we're good to go there. So next time we'll use a jot instead of a token, which I need to remember exactly. We'll look up what jot I used before. It's so JSON web tokens are interesting and fun. You can store data in them, and some people store lots of data in them. I don't like to do that. I like to just store maybe the user ID at most, just to make it easy to do a lookup. But I still verify that the jot is like inside of the token. So like some in the past, I've literally stored nothing in the jot, and I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter. This is something that the server needs and server uses, and all we care about is that the front end did not create a jot and pretend to be logged in. All right, so with that, I am done for the day. I am gonna go. It's Thanksgiving here, so I need to get ready for the rest of the day. We're doing some cooking stuff and basically just relaxing as much as we can for and a holiday. So if you're celebrating Thanksgiving, have a great Thanksgiving. Have a lot of really awesome food. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day at work, and I will be back tomorrow morning. Another short, another normal size stream. I have like people coming over to check out our furnace, so I won't be able to do a long one. Like today is a little bit longer than normal. So with that, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.